Let's take a look at, some more reports. Barely 2 weeks after terrorists attacked an Abuja-Kaduna bound train, killing and abducting passengers, relatives of the hostages taking have appealed to the federal government to negotiate with their abductors for the release of their loved ones. Take a look.
Representatives of the families say they have been in trying times since the abduction of their loved ones. They want the federal government to not only hear their plight, but to take concrete steps to address it.
From the videos that have gone viral, they insist that yes, government knows what they want, because in any ground that you go, you expected that yes, you'll be expecting call for ransom. But since it's not coming 2 weeks after today, then we are praying and we believe that government can be able to come in and come to our rescue.
But the hope now is that from what we saw in the video, they are saying very categorically that their interest is to discuss with government. So we are here to appeal to government to open discussions with them. They can reach compromise.
She called, or they let her call just once to say that she is okay, but definitely she is with them, and since then we have not heard anything.
Today you are here.
They allege that the government has left them on their own without any vital information or communication, and called for a dialogue between the federal government and the terrorists to be initiated as part of efforts towards securing the release of their family members.
What is the state, what is the condition of their staying there? Nothing of comfort. They are sleeping in the bush, on the bare grounds. Their lives are being endangered to things that you can never imagine.
Even the United States of America sometimes do enter negotiations, do enter discussions with terror groups, to protect the interests of our citizens. So it is not out of place if government discusses with them. We don't know what they want, but when government discusses with them, they will know. They will fulfill the ones they can fulfill. It's a compromise. It doesn't mean that whatever they ask government must do. But let them start talking with them.
We expected that the government would communicate or contact the families to let us know, at least allay our fears that something is being done about this happening or this incidents. But nothing has been heard. So we don't know anything. Nobody contacted us. It's just silence. We don't know what is happening. And it's clearly, it seems clear that these abductors have the grudge with the government. It's not between them and us. We are ready to do anything within our powers, whatever it takes to secure and bring back our family members.
It is exactly 2 weeks since the attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train that left some dead, others injured, and scores abducted. Families of those abducted continue to hope against hope that their loved ones will come back alive. Fatima Salaladen, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Well, quite a horrific experience. It can only be imagined, what those families are going through right now, the trauma that they have to deal with, as a result of this experience. I mean, how would they even eat? How would they go to sleep?
A lot
knowing
of
that one of them
moment
is out there in the hands of some criminal.
And I was just thinking, while listening to that report, a lot of Nigerians right now are battling with their economies, how to eat, how to do the basic things, and then they have to also think of money for ransom.
It's really sad. Well, let's get more perspectives on this, and we have a security expert joining us virtually, Tanko Ahmed, and he's going to be talking to us some more about this. Thank you for joining us, Tanko, and welcome to Daybreak.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Welcome. Well, I mean, it's one attack too many, isn't it? It's either, we are talking about Abuja-Kaduna train attack, or we are talking about attack on Kanam Wase local governments in Plateau State. And it's really quite sad, isn't it? What are your reactions, initial reactions, to these attacks? I mean, we've heard a lot of rhetorics, we've heard a lot of government statements, we've heard a lot of cliches about, oh, investigations are ongoing, troops have been deployed, and the rest of them. But Nigerians are just sick of hearing all of these things. We just want to see action, isn't it? Are we doing enough to match the kind of realities that we're dealing with now?
Yeah, I can start off by saying that those in charge of security and responses to what's going on are doing enough. But generally, we will have to adjust our understanding of this kind of crime, we call terrorism crime. We just came out of crisis of COVID-19. I would like to try to understand terrorism as a pandemic crime. You see how COVID-19 came in, it swamped everybody like terrorism across the world. It came in here, we did not have good hospitals, they said. We did not have enough equipment, like the way fighting terrorism, now people are saying that you should buy a lot of cameras and put all over the place. If we understand terrorism or this kind of violent crime in terms of a disaster and we compare it with COVID-19, the answer here or the approach should be everything that is being done by government, by agencies, should be people-oriented. It could be the same group of people that did the attack on the train now will move down to Kanam. Kanam is a very, very peaceful area. Out of the crisis of Plateau, nothing had happened there. Very, very peaceful area, but it is an area that is also blazed with what the terrorists has carted away. Rams, cattle that are being bred for the oncoming Salah. People don't know about this because our own frame of thinking will never bring us to try to sort out where are these people coming from, where are they going to hit, and for what purpose, and what is their own profile. We have gone through this over and over again to the extent that by now, we should have at least a clear profile of what these bandits or terrorists are. The way we had the profile of COVID-19. And then we bring out something very, very simple, like use of mask in fighting the disease, social distance, and cleanliness. In this case, we should be told about
Tonko,
how to identify. Yes.
If I may interject a bit now.
Yes.
You are likening this terrorism and insurgency to COVID-19. This
it's pandemic in nature.
Been dealing with, it's a pandemic, agreed. But we've been dealing with this very pandemic for more than 10 years now. In all these 10 years, we've not been able to have intelligence. We've not been able to have information that will help us curb this pandemic. I mean, COVID-19 came in 2020, and this is 2022, and you could see that a lot of successes have been recorded in terms of dealing with this very pandemic. But with the pandemic of the terrorism, it has proven so difficult in finding the vaccine for this very pandemic, isn't it? Why is it so? Like, why is it so difficult? In terms of intelligence gathering, what are we missing out? What don't we understand about this insurgency yet? I mean, we've seen them spread from the northeast to the northwest now. And we have intelligence agencies, right? And they are supposed to be getting information in terms of trying to decipher and understand the kind of warfare that we're dealing with. So is 10 years not long enough to be able to come up with things that can help us curb this very pandemic?
Well, thank you very much. Intelligence officers are not magicians. Intelligence officers have been working the way everybody has been working in their offices and other things. When you collect intelligence, what kind of people or what kind of report do you forward? No matter how good the report is, it depends on somebody to take decision and use it. So at the end of the day, why I am insisting on this pandemic approach is that once you drop in people into the equation, It's the people now that are the victims, and it is widespread, either on land or among the population. Therefore, the pandemic nature of it, which I would like to approach here. If there is intelligence and people are told how to use intelligence, they don't need to wait for that intelligence to reach up and then comes down. The only thing that will reach up there and be applied is intelligence for operation. There were cases like this in the past. We have military officers that are retired military officers that have conducted this kind of operations in the past, either in Nigeria or in Liberia or other things. Very, very fantastic way of doing it. But at the end of the day, when you see, of course, they have the military skill to do this job. At the end of the day, what they did that is different from now is that they were people-oriented. I will give you an example with some years back. One of our senior officers, General Temlong, conducted the groundwork of pushing the Chadians out of Maiduguri area, Borno area now, or the present Sambisa, back to Chad. What they do is that when they move, they rebuild communities. Then they bring in police to take charge of the communities. They move over again. But today, what kind of things do you have here, especially under democratic dispensation, where people would think they would just sit down in their houses and decide what other people do? So the problem here now is the public opinion. Public opinion has proven to be toxic enough to confuse people. They don't know what they are doing. They don't know what to expect. We do not have common resolve. So in that case, the confusion would start where the action takes place.
Okay, Tanko,
Yes.
these families, they are asking governments to negotiate with the bandits or whoever it is that abducted their relatives. As a security expert, what do you say to that?
Well, where would they go? I'm sure the first thing would be for them to pray. After they pray, they will go to government. Everybody will go to government. If this happens to be maybe a flooded river, they will still go to government. And right now, as they are asking government to negotiate with the people, government has retinue of agencies. It has retinue of professionals who are trained, who are engaged, who are paid, who are provided with the means to do this work. The government does not need to make it public immediately. And public opinion should be in support of the process of solving this thing between the victims and the government. But what you hear overwhelmingly are political statements.
Tanko, you talk about, you talk about public opinion and you talk about public support. How can there be public support and trust when there is no transparency? I mean, we heard from one of the family members that is saying that they have not been communicated to by even government. Now, we're not talking about government making their steps or what the moves that they are making public, but at least for the family members of the victims, they should be able to know what is happening as far as rescuing, their wards and their relatives and their family members. So how do you, get public support when there's no transparency, when people cannot have confidence in what you are doing? I mean, you say one thing and we see a different thing. We've seen a lot of statements from government condemning the attacks, but it doesn't look like the government itself is any different from the people, like the ordinary citizens. So how do you have, public support in that sense?
Well, without running the risk of sounding as if I'm not sympathetic with the relations, we know, we had, and we have seen in various channels that the government, the governor of Kaduna State, government officials, the IG, they have been to the place. They can't go there without having access to the people. Now, what is contact with government, between government and these people? Do they want the president or the IG or somebody to get in contact with them? There are a lot of things also the government can fetch from what we are doing, what we are saying in all these channels. That is one of the importance of the media.
The
But
IG and
contact
the IG
government
and
talking to these people.
the IG and the Chief of Defense Staff and some of the top government officials that went to Kaduna went to the scene of the attack, right? They went to the scene of the attack. Even
and they were doing something about it. Yes.
Some of them visited the hospitals where these victims were. Fine and good.
Yeah.
But we have heard stories of how the victims have to even pay for medical treatments in the hospital, even after instructions or orders were given by the deputy governor of Kaduna State that their treatments should be taken care of by government. But monies were requested, for certain things, for X-ray or something, from the victims of that attack. So if you have that kind of a thing happening, how does someone having that experience have confidence, on the government and that it is doing, very serious, it is taking very serious steps to ensure that, their family members are rescued and that further occurrences do not occur?
In all disasters, whether it is disease, whether it is security issue, there is no disaster response that is flawless. Yes, if the government has given order that medicine or other treatments are free, and maybe one or two people are asked, there is also a channel where if they pay, they must pay them back. And now you are bringing me back to the relationship between government and the people. Public opinion is the one that is pushing the people to think in a particular way. To some extent also, public opinion also influences government decision. If these public opinions are devoid of toxic approaches, yes, yes, madam.
This public opinion is based on their experiences, what they are seeing and what is happening to them. Is it possible that their public opinion will be different, or general public opinion will be different from exactly what is happening, what is on ground? Public opinion, I want to believe, is shaped by things that are happening.
Well, yeah, things that are happening, including what me and you are doing here now. When I say public opinion, I'm trying to capture the way people would think and the way government would behave in such a way that they work together. Let me still go back to this COVID-19 example that I'm giving. I like to give that because this is something that we had experienced. Everybody was involved in it. Public opinion was involved in it from the beginning. We believed that everybody would just drop and die on the streets. And we believe that Nigerian doctors, Nigerian Ministry of Health and other things were not able to do that. That is, if you compare it to what is happening now. But at the end of the day, just 3 items. Cover your nose, wash your hand, keep your distance, and then we chase the COVID away. So now, I am suggesting that let's profile protocol of kidnapping. Let's profile protocol of sudden attack on communities. Let's educate the general public, everybody. We talked about intelligence before from Kanam.
Okay, I understand.
I knew that people saw some strange faces before they were attacked.
Madam Tanko, I understand the angle.
Dr. Tanko Ahmed, Dr. Tanko Ahmed, yes.
Yeah, you are coming from the angle of the fact that, the insecurity is a fight for everyone, isn't it? It's something that
of course.
There has to be a holistic approach and that people have to play a part in this, right? But again, we are talking about, people who have been betrayed time and time again. We are talking about, security officials that sometimes really do not take seriously even when information is being provided. You see, responses to intelligence information, or someone gives an information, even residents sometimes. I mean, for the train attack, for instance, there are several reports that said there were reports, pointing to the fact that this could happen, and nothing was done. In the case of Kanam, we just spoke with our correspondent who said, well, one of the local government chairmen, since last year, have raised an alarm that there's a possible attack, in that location. So, when you talk about the role of members of the public, what are the members of the public supposed to do in this instance? One of the reasons why people are not carrying arms is because there is a government in place, and that government is supposed to have the monopoly, of force, on anyone. But it doesn't look like such right now. So if the government cannot protect the people, what are the people supposed to do? If, providing information, for government, sometimes that even backfires, what are the people supposed to do?
Well, let me start. I just mentioned something about toxic opinions. The words, when you are bringing in this idea, you use the word betrayed. For us to sit down here in public, in the media, to use the word betrayal in an issue discussed between government and the people, this is toxic. I would not like to use the word betrayal. If there is disappointment or if there is slow motion in response
Tanko,
and other
how do you
things.
describe a situation where someone volunteers and provide information for security officials, and then, from within the security officials, somehow that person, is now being, receiving the backlash and it backfires? How do you explain that? How do you explain that? How do you describe that?
Well, I would describe it as a normal thing that takes place whenever there is human affairs, this kind of loopholes. And I mentioned to you before, there is nothing that is flawless, including the use of intelligence. And I mentioned to you here, before I started discussing about intelligence, intelligence officers are not magicians. These things take place. But the main problem now is when you come to apply this.
Dr.
Yes,
Tanko,
madam.
please,
Yeah.
you're saying very important issues. You're talking about very important issues here. So let's just hold your thought. We'll take a break now. When we return, the
I will.
continues.
I will. Thank you.
So we'll take a short breather. When we come back, Daybreak on Trust Television continues. Please stay.
All right, thank you for staying. And if you're just joining, you're watching Daybreak, reaching you live from the nation's capital in Abuja. For those who are just joining us, let's have a look at the headlines today. District head shot dead inside Taraba Mosque.
Police raid illicit drug factory in Bayelsa, nab for suspects.
And the perpetrators of plateau killings must not be spared, and that's according to the president.
Now the news in details. Government have attacked a mosque at Mesamari town in Sardauna local government area of Taraba State, killing Alhaji Abdulkadir Mesamari, a district head. According to witnesses, Mesamari was killed during congregational prayers on Monday night. The gunmen reportedly opened fire immediately they stormed the mosque. Residents were said to have confronted the gunmen, forcing them to flee into a mountain close to the town. A resident, Musa Sali, told Daily Trust that some courageous persons confronted the gunmen who forcefully fled.
All right, President Muhammadu Buhari has said that the perpetrators of the brutal terrorist attacks in Kanam and Wase communities in Plateau State should not get no mercy and not be allowed to escape justice. The president, in a statement issued Tuesday by his media aide Garba Shehu, described the killings as heinous. The Buhari, who directed that they should not be spared or forgiven. Also ordered law enforcement agencies to work strenuously with the government of the state to bring the situation under control and take steps to bring the culprits to justice quickly. The president expressed condolences over the terrorist incident, saying as a matter of priority, peace must return at all costs to the state and the entire country. The statement follows the mass burial of victims of Sunday morning attacks on 4 communities in Plateau State by bandits. And now let's return back to our guest who is standing by, a security expert, Tanko Ahmed. Dr. Tanko Ahmed, who was giving us, perspectives on some of these issues. So, Doctor, if you are still there, well, we were talking about, issues of, lack of trust and lack of confidence, in the, responses of government as we deal with, the issues of insecurity in the country. Now, I agree with you that there is need for a holistic approach to this. Everyone has a responsibility. But what do you do when you provide information and it is, just, swept under the carpet or it is not taken seriously? Even government agencies provide intelligence information about attacks and nothing happens, not to talk of ordinary citizens.
I know any case that is proven or taken out in its own merit, it's always attended to. If there are cases of leakage, you take the leakage, even some policemen or security agencies collecting money on the road, while somebody takes them on video, they get dismissed. There are cases like that. And there is no way we can run this thing flawless. That is what I've been saying. But then when things occur like this, like for example, what I got from the news outline you just mentioned, the president has already ordered that actions must be taken. And most of the time,
Dr. Tanko, we've had all of that. We've had all those orders before. It's our responsibility as media to always put out those statements, as they come. But doesn't mean that we are seeing results from these statements. I mean,
well, if we are not seeing results, we keep on demanding for the results.
A couple of years before now, the president gave a directive that anyone caught, and the president has continued with that statement, that anyone caught with an AK-47 rifle unlicensed or unauthorized, the person should be shot at sight. The president said that. But it looks like, we've seen people with these rifles and no one is looking. It looks like people are sleeping.
I can assure you, anywhere any operative sees somebody with that gun, since the time of the presidential directive, anywhere they saw them, they shot them.
So how is it that these attacks have continued?
You can see them maybe inside a video that they tape themselves and start spreading it around. You can see it like that.
How is it that this
attack them? They do kill them. They kill hundreds of them daily.
Dr. Tanko, how is it that these attacks have continued unabated?
They continue because the causes of this thing continue to. It's just like a farm. You put in something. If you don't remove the weed completely, when you remove from one place, it will spread. So it is generally. I'm still coming back to this issue of holistic approach. I'm not a typical academician that will give you a yes.
Dr. Tanko.
Yes, madam, I can hear you.
Dr. Tanko, you mentioned something. You said it keeps coming back because it hasn't been dealt with from the root.
Like weeding, yes.
Again, these bandits also said in one of their videos that the government knows what it is that they want.
At the end of the day, they say they want some of their prisoners to be, some of their people to be released from prison. We had that.
Okay.
Everybody had that.
I'm saying that you said that it keeps coming back because it hasn't been taken out from the root. What is stopping our security operatives from taking it out from the root?
We can only uproot this when we mobilize and put people in the whole process. Security service, like any other service that government provides, must be people-based. people based in resources, people based in results. There are places where this kind of thing have been happening before, but now they have ebbed down. There are places where if you ask bandits to go, they will not go there because the communities are well organized. They will recognize you before you come in. They will deal with you while you are there. If they can't, if you go away, they will chase you until the end of the world or end of time. I don't see any reason why this kind of thing cannot be profiled, injected into the public, and then I'm assuring you we can end up having breakfast with the head of bandits in this Nigeria.
Okay,
Yes.
Doctor, can you share with us what some of those communities you talked about now, where bandits wouldn't want to go? Can you share with us, what it is that they do differently, so that other communities can also learn from these things?
Yeah, they are organized. They are organized enough to link up with security agencies around their own area. I will give you an example of simple crimes. In Bukuru, I stay in an area where they break into houses. We organize our youth. Wait, I'm giving you example. Let me give you example. I like to give example.
We are not talking about petty crimes. We are talking about
No, I will give you example of petty crime and then the larger one.
People sacking communities in hundreds.
It starts from petty crimes. These communities where they are organized, fathers turn out their own children that are involved in terrorism. There are communities that are as organized as that. For example, somewhere in BU, a father will hand over his own son to the authorities if he suspects him to be a terrorist. But this kind of thing are not carried along because they are not dramatic. Even beyond the media itself, there are agencies like National Orientation Agency. There are ministries. There are people of goodwill. Let's profile all these things about terrorists. Let's feed it into the public, through public opinion. If you do that, Nigerians, we are so active that if you can profile terrorists or bandits and push it into our heads and the way to deal with them, I'm telling you, within small time, people in conjunction with security agencies, they can eat up bandits.
Dr. Tanko, there's very little that members of the public can do in some of these instances. When you are
let's start co-opting them inside.
When you are confronted with people that are well armed, perhaps sometimes maybe even more armed than our security personnel.
Well, we were confronted by a disease, a germ that would just fly through the air and kill a whole town.
Okay, if I may, there's very little that people can do. Trust me, no one would like to be ransacked from his home. No one would
we
love
can
to
start
see his
trying
own
to get
family
people
members
to do more.
being killed,
we can
and
start
there's
that.
nothing he can do about it, right? People will ordinarily want to do something when they are going to be attacked. But I am talking about instances where people organize themselves. We have vigilante groups, that sometimes do not enjoy as much collaboration, from the security forces. Like now, let me give you an instance with the Abuja Kaduna train attack, right? Now, that attack happened until about 2 hours before we saw the troops, come to the scene of that attack. How would you explain, why that is happening? And from what we know, information got to the security forces, not even directly from the railway corporation. It's from the third party. It's from among victims that were inside the train. Some of them who have numbers and contacts of police officers or also some security officials, they were the ones making the calls. So is there no breach there? Is there no gap there that needs to be breached?
Well, I will call it a gap in time of response. We don't know where this security personnel responded to, but then if they respond, they will come as fast as the means of transport they have. But first line of response were the policemen that were mounted inside the train. A lot of people that came out attested that the policemen tried their best. They fought until they ran out of bullets. That is also part of the larger security. Security of the country is the larger part of the police. Yes, Madam.
Dr. Tanko, as I listen to you, I keep pondering though, Whenever there's an intelligence report, it comes to the security operatives. And then oftentimes we get to hear that the security operatives failed to act, and then these bandits will come at night and ransack communities. What can
not
the
all the
ordinary
time,
man
not
do
all the
in
time.
an
So what we
instance
will
like
do
that?
here now, we should concentrate on improving that particular security outfit. It's a problem that kept on coming. That is why I completely started by wholesome approach, and I use the word pandemic. When it comes out in one place, you go and deal with it. And also people should be able to, yes.
Dr. Tanko, I agree that our security officials are doing their best, right?
Yeah,
but
it's not all of them that leak out names.
But their best is just not good enough from what we are seeing.
Well, I would say that their best, I would say their best is not enough.
Their best is only good enough for reactive measures. We want a proactive security system where before attacks happen, it is being stopped from happening. That's what we are talking about. How can we improve the system in such a way that we do not wait until when attacks happen and then we now go there and then now begin to, go around and do things that I cannot even understand. That's what we want, not something that, not that we'll continue to see reoccurrence of attacks and it looks like people are helpless. That's what we are talking about. How can we improve the system?
That is the ideal situation. I like it the way you tidy it now. I would tell you very short and simple. The only way to improve the system is to make the people and the security agencies work together. It is not only the work of the people, on the other hand, it's not only the work of the security agencies, it is the work of everybody to try and work together, not only on security, but also the root causes of why these insecurities come. I use the example of within a group. You attack the root causes.
For people and the security agencies to work together, there has to be some kind of level of confidence and trust. We
have agencies that build confidence.
We have had situations where people in villages and communities are even more afraid of the bandits,
of course,
and than having security forces in those places, because there is absence of security agencies in those places. If anything happens, the security agencies are not there to protect the people.
We do not have enough personnel.
So what I'm saying is that how can you restore confidence in people, in communities, in villages, in such a way that they are not afraid of sharing information with security forces, in such a way that they are confident when they provide information, they will definitely see an action?
Yes. So how to bring back confidence is to yes.
Dr. Tanko, as a follow-up to that, we have had reports where people have gone to the police station, volunteered information, and in the night, the bandits came straight for their homes, which therefore means that the information they gave to the police was leaked out.
Yeah. But then also in the same vein, we always hear about reports where policemen actually investigate cases and arrest criminals. So these are clashing reports that when you put it into the relationship between people and the government, it will require some kind of coordination. It will require some kind of review of relationship. So if the relationship between government and the people is improved, all this kind of thing will be...
How can we restore the confidence, Dr. Tanko?
We can restore the confidence. We already have agencies in place. We have people like you in the media. The media can really contribute a lot. You can go out of your way now and start demanding for profile of terrorists, so that now these people, all the people will be informed in such a way that they will know a terrorist when they see one. Then people will converge there. Yes. I think we have a lot of work to do, including you.
Doctor, the media is playing its part, but like I said,
it's playing its part. The way we are talking now, yes.
If the government does not take seriously reports from its own fellow, sister agencies that are supposed to be working together, what's the guarantee that I have that whatever
The
information
only
I'm
guarantee
providing,
is to go back
it's
to
going
the
to be taken
platform
seriously.
of people. Yes, the only guarantee is to go back to the platform of people, the media, the security, the government, and everybody. We go back to the platform of people. That is where even the purpose of government is. That's the purpose of what media is. That's the purpose of all this, if I can call it katakata, because there is no word to fit this thing other than katakata, because it is all over the place. It's pandemic. So we must go back to the platform of people. That is where we will redesign. That is where we will act. And that is where the media really will be a leading force, including other agencies. Like what you are saying about the police and the intelligence and other things, when you see it, expose it until the time when action is taken. And I would love to see a situation whereby people will start engaging government services at point of delivery. If you are supposed to deliver this service to me, you have not delivered, and I know that you are the agent the government has employed, you are being paid, you are being housed, it is your duty to do it, I'll go to you first.
Well, Doctor, you still haven't convinced,
You are not convinced, but
it's still
I
not
am
convincing
telling you
as to
about my conviction. Yes.
What I'm very particular is about how to rebuild confidence, how to
Yes.
rebuild public trust in
Yes.
security, such that
Uh-huh.
people are comfortable sharing
Yes.
information, such that people are sure that when they provide information, they will get the response as at the time that it needs to come. That's very important in talking about this.
It's very important.
Government
I have
security
been agreeing
and
with
people
you
relationship.
throughout the conversation. I am agreeing with you. But I'm telling you now that you have been trying government side. It is not working as good as it should be. Try people, corner.
What can the
And
people
then
do?
you
I
try,
mean,
okay. Then also you try
what can the people do?
government people corner. Yes. There is no escape. We must get government to work along with the people. Generally, I've been saying it.
Dr.
Government, yes.
Dr. Tanko, the government has
Yes.
a constitutional duty to protect the people. I agree
Of
with
course.
you that security, everybody needs to come together. But it is
Yes.
first and foremost the duty of the government.
So the government, I'm
yes,
also saying that government should also strive to connect its own services with the people. If you don't do this, nothing will work. Or if you do it, whatever you are doing will get improved. So now let me come back to some specific examples. What is happening to the community policing? If community policing is in place, the DPO of everywhere will be able to weed out terrorists before they even grow to be one. Yes, there are a lot of things we have on the ground. Also, when I will advise that the media should also pursue why is it that this community policing is not taking place. Why is it that if everybody is recognized in policing, these people that leak information, the villagers will catch them?
Well, I mean, the people catching them, the people do not have the responsibility of disciplining or prosecuting.
We have responsibility for everything
who are
in this
leaking
case
information,
now.
do they? I mean, at the end of the day, the bulk of the job is on the table of government, Dr. Tambo.
Yes.
We can talk about citizen participation and the role of citizens in providing information from now till the cows come home. At the end of the day, if information is provided and someone is not taking action on that information, it becomes, the whole effort becomes fruitless. So at the end of the day, we need to, have some kind of confidence. I mean, the people need to have some kind of confidence, on the security officials to even collaborate. And that's very important here, right? And
You
what we
will
are
do
saying is
this
that how can we rebuild that confidence?
We can only rebuild this confidence through improved communication between the people and the government. Communication that will direct decision making. Communication that will influence and correct strategy, communication that will improve on operation, communication that will improve on how it perceives the people and how the people perceive the government. I think I will settle in this issue of communication because this is what we are all talking about. There must be improved communication in the way we live, in the way we operate, in the way we respond, in the way we do almost everything. Because there is government and there are people.
All right, thank you so much.
You are
Dr.
the media.
Ahmed,
We are standing on your platform. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Tanko Ahmed. We appreciate your time on the program.
Thank you very much.
To having you.
Yeah, I'm pleased to be with you. Thank you very much.